We are live. Welcome to Walking the Path. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so grateful I'm here. That's the truth. I'm grateful I'm here. Are you grateful you're there? Are you grateful that we're here together? I'm grateful. Okay. So today's Walking the Path. I had this crazy it's Walking the Path time. Yay. So I'm excited you guys are here. I'm excited to be here. And I'm telling you, today is about, hey, Marcy, great to see you. Today's about conflict and discomfort. Woohoo. Yay. It's true. Conflict is good. I have to say that conflict is typically not in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? I'm not really up for it. I try to avoid it. My life up till this moment in my life, I've been avoiding conflict. Why? Typically, when we avoid conflict, it goes back to one of our core woundings, right? It goes back to, yay, Marcy, see you next week. I'm excited about our session. Thank you. Typically, when we avoid conflict, it goes back to one of our core woundings. I'm not enough. I don't belong. I'm not safe. And I'm not lovable. And I want to be one of those things. Hey, Reverend Michael, woohoo. So avoidance of conflict typically goes back to one of our core woundings, that we're not enough, not lovable, not safe, not, and I don't belong. One of those things. So I avoid conflict so that I don't experience those feelings. What the beauty of conflict is to realize that all spiritual laws have to be reflected in nature. Anything in nature is a reflection of the spiritual realm. And so we can look to nature and see that in nature, conflict, hey, Patricia, conflict is good. All of the most beautiful things in nature come out of conflict. Look at the Grand Canyon. That was major conflict. Look at a seed bursting through. That's conflict. Look at a butterfly emerging from the cocoon. That's conflict. Conflict in nature produces beauty. Conflict in human relation can produce a beautiful relationship, can produce authenticity and intimacy when we know how to rumble and leave everybody whole. That's really the point, right? Conflict doesn't have to be yelling and throwing stuff or losing our temper. We can express, I am learning to express my feelings, and that my feelings are valid, and that my truth is my truth, not the truth. And I'm also learning to sit in the discomfort of conflict. And the resolution of that is where miracles reside. The resolution when two individuals actually speak to each other, and are intimate enough with each other to reveal something. I mean, conflict is an intimate experience. If I'm telling you what bothers me, I'm revealing to you all the things that I keep hidden. I'm revealing to you my triggers, my cues, my buttons. So for me to express to you what is bothering me is an act of utmost intimacy. Conflict is a good thing. And oh, something happened. What happened? Okay. We went offline for a second, but now we're back. Yay. Okay. So, hey, Smiling Chef. Hey, brother Darren, great to see you. Amy, great to see you. Okay, so we really want to talk. I want to talk to you today about how to conflict, how to rumble. This is a phrase from Brene Brown, which I really like, how to rumble and leave everybody whole. The first piece is the realization that what I am feeling is valid. Now, I don't have to be fused with my feelings, but to acknowledge my feelings is an important thing. To acknowledge how I'm feeling and that my feelings are valid. Again, going back to our core woundings, most of the time when I am not wanting to reveal something, it's because if I reveal that to you, you might not like me. I might not be accepted. I might not be safe. So the first piece for me in conflicting well is to honor myself. Like, I am valuable. My opinions, my feelings matter. They're not the only thing that matters. They're my opinions, they're my feelings, and they're valid. And in the process of communicating that to someone else, I might see that I have a blind spot. I might understand something different, but I'd never understand that if I didn't bring it to the fore. So the first piece of conflicting well is to honor your own feelings, to honor where you're at, and that this is where you're at, and that it's okay. Another part for me about revealing the thing that bothers me is that, oh my God, they might think I'm supposed to be this evolved, spiritual guy. And here I have an issue with this thing. They might go, well, I thought you were bigger than that, but I guess not. Well, whatever. If that is, because here's the other part about conflicting well. What they think, what you think of me, what somebody thinks of me, or what somebody thinks of you is none of our business. And the thing that we can't control is what other people think. That's the, I can't control that. Here's what I can control. I can control how I feel, how I present myself. I can control my tone. I can control the words that I'm using. I can control my intention. I can control the way that I'm communicating. I can control all of those things. How it lands, I can't control. And here's the biggest part for me about conflicting well, especially for those of us where conflict isn't in our wheelhouse. Because I know some people that are like, bring it on, I'm ready. That's not my default mode. So for those of us that have a challenge with conflict, one of the biggest things to realize is the point of speaking up is to speak up. The fact that you are expressing yourself is a win. Give yourself a pat on the back for doing that. So conflict can be unpleasant. Conflict can be uncomfortable. Now, guess what? You and I, we've been through a lot of discomfort in our lives. Right? So, right? We've been there. I've been through discomfort. The biggest thing is, to allow the discomfort and not try and escape it, to just be with it, to allow it to be. It's more uncomfortable to sit with something and not express it than it is to express it. So baseline for, hey, Jacob, great to see you. Baseline for conflicting well begins with, I'm speaking up, and just the act of speaking up is an act of liberation for me. Now, before you get into a conflict, remember, it's not a bad thing. Conflict, everything in nature is produced through conflict. Some of the most beautiful things in nature are produced through conflict. So we know that some of the most beautiful things in our relationship are going to be produced through conflict. Now, what is the thing? What is the thing that's bothering you? Right? Get clear on it. Meditate. This is one of the biggest pieces. Before you go into a conflict, sit your butt down and meditate. Meditation, here's where, people are like, I can't meditate. Meditation is where you go to get the answers. Meditation is where you go to get the answers. Meditation is where you get insights, and you can take action based on those insights. So before you go into conflict, sit your butt down. Use this time, set the intention and ask for an answer. I'd like clarity around this situation. What is really bothering me? I want to be clear. What's my intention in this conversation? Sit your butt down and meditate, and the answers will come. You have to listen with your whole being. You're not listening with your mind. You want to listen with your heart, with your whole being. And a feeling, a sense, a sensation, an idea, a memory will occur that will help you get clarity on how to proceed in this conflict. So now you have an intention. It is important that before you move into any conversation, you set an intention. What's my intention with this conversation? My intention for conflict, it might be open, honest, loving communication. It might be clear, calm, receptive, and assertive communication. It might be peace. It might be self-expression. It might be resolution, right? Go into the conflict knowing that you're seeking a resolution. Now, remembering that your truth is your truth, not the truth, we want to be receptive to what other people say. So as you enter into this conflict, You know, you don't have to say, we're into a conflict and now I'm going to. No, you can just set your intention and let the other person know, I respect you and I love you. And because I respect and love you and your relationship with me is important, I want to share these things that are bothering me. I want to share something that I'd like to talk to you about. That's the beginning. And then talk about the situation or the circumstance or the issue. Don't talk about the person. You did this and you did that. It's like, when this occurred, here's a great structure. When this occurred, when this was said, when you said this, I felt this way. Not you made me feel or what you said made me feel, but I felt. Now you're taking responsibility. When you said this, I felt this way. Or when this happened, I felt this way. When this happened, I experienced these feelings. In the future, I would really love it if we could do this. You know, so there's the formula. When you said, when this happened, when this situation occurred, I felt this way. In the future, I would really love it if we could do this. That is a great formula for expressing and taking responsibility for your own feelings, not blaming the other person, and letting it be known what's up for you. Now, remember, you can't control how the other person reacts. You can't control their tone. You can't control the way they feel. You can't control what they think of you. You can control what you think of them. You can control how you feel. You can control how you speak, your tone. All of those things are within your dominion. So stay in your lane. Take care of the things that you can take care of. And now, the other piece is, before going into the conflict, you have to sort of, depending on who you're rumbling with, you have to know what your boundaries are, what you're willing and not willing to put up with. What will happen if you lose your temper? You got to look at that ahead of time. What's going to happen if I lose it? What am I going to do? What's going to happen if they're spewing stuff at me? How am I going to react? When will I leave the situation? When will I say, you know what? Let's continue this at another time. What are your boundaries? You have to know what your boundaries are and how you want to communicate. Very, very important. And setting in the intention, right? So those are some key pieces to before the conflict. Now that you're in the conflict, you want to stay calm. Keep focusing on your breath. Remember that this is not a bad thing. And know that it's safe to disagree. Know that it's safe to express your opinions. And one of the biggest things that you can do is to take a break or to break the pattern. So let's say you're entered in the conflict and things start to heat up. You might say, you know what, let's just take a quick breath here. Can we take a breath? Or if you're standing up, maybe sit down. Or if you're sitting down, stand up. Break the pattern for a minute. That automatically helps to diffuse. And another big piece while you're in the conflict is to find common ground. Like, you both probably want the same thing. You both probably want to be heard. You both probably want to be acknowledged. You both probably want a solution to this thing. So begin to find the areas where you can find common ground. So that's a huge piece. Now, while you are, okay, hey, Robin, hey, Vicky, hey, Corey, great to see you guys. Thank you. So while you are now, after the conflict, right, you've done your best. You've spoken your truth, not the truth. You've been receptive to what the other person has said. You've taken care of your tone of voice. You've taken care of the things that you can take care of. And now, after the conflict, it's time for you to take a break. It's time for you to slow down and to check in with yourself. Take a breath, remind yourself that conflicts aren't a bad thing, and look for what has changed. If something has changed, if there was resolution, was there a positive outcome? You just might see that you got through something. At the same time, if the conflict didn't end well, or you didn't get a resolution, or maybe you're left feeling like the other person thinks poorly of you or the thing didn't go well, guess what? That's okay too. You know, sometimes we just have to be okay with the way it is. And that's where we can step into the power of prayer. We can speak a prayer for ourselves and for the other person. We can know the best and highest good for each party. We can remove, because it's more about the way we feel than what we think. And the universe doesn't hear us, the universe feels us. So as we begin to recalibrate ourselves after a conflict, we can come to a state of peace. We can come into a state of joy. We can come into a state of balance and equilibrium and want the best for both people, the best and highest good. One of the things that I like to do is to speak to the other person's higher self. This can go before and after the conflict. Get into a meditative state and begin speaking from your higher self to the other person's higher self. Connect with them in the astrals, connect with the highest version, connect with their soul, your soul connecting with their soul, and talk to them. I really, really want to resolve this. I know that we want the best for each other. I know that we want the best and highest good. And I want you to feel whole, and I want to feel whole. I want both of us to feel whole at the end of this. Communicate higher self to higher self before and after the conflict. This will do more than you can imagine for resolution, because you're communicating beyond this realm. You're communicating in consciousness, and consciousness always precedes form. Okay, so I think this is our face conflict and discomfort. Um, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with what's been said, and I hope you are too. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm really, really grateful. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, DM me to talk about this. If you have any questions about conflict or how to conflict well, I'm super excited to talk to people about this because it's my growing edge too. All right. Peace and richest blessings. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Blessings.